Hey guys, Omaha here. Today I'm going to be going over the Great Old One subclass for the Warlock, showing all the spells and abilities. So as a Warlock, you're bound by a pact to an all-powerful patron. Warlocks trade their loyalty for supernatural abilities and unique magic. As a Warlock, you're going to get proficiencies in simple weapons, which adds your proficiency bonus to attack rolls with simple weapons, and light armor. Wearing light armor will not impose a disadvantage on your attack rolls or prevent you from casting spells. So Warlock spell slots are going to be different from normal spell slots in that you're going to be very limited in how many you have. At level 12, you're only going to have a max of 3. However, you're going to be able to recharge them on a short rest or a long rest. All of your spell slots also share the same level. All of them will level up uniformly as your character levels up. So as you get level 3 spells, all of your spells will become level 3. When you get level 4 spells, all of your spells are going to be level 4. Level 5, they're all going to be level 5. And level 5 is the max. And then upcasting is not a feature as a Warlock. Instead, it's going to automatically cast the highest level spell that you have. So for example, here's Witch Bolt at level 1, Witch Bolt level 2. Here's Witch Bolt level 3, Witch Bolt at level 4, and here's Witch Bolt level 5. So to start out, you're going to choose 2 cantrips between Blade Ward, Bone Chill, Eldritch Blast, Friends, Mage Hand, Minor Illusion, Poison Spray, and True Strike. And I highly recommend grabbing Eldritch Blast at least for one of your cantrips. You'll see why later. So Eldritch Blast is unique to the Warlock class unless you get the feat Spell Sniper. It's going to do 1 to 10 force damage, and it's going to conjure Eldritch Blast beams of crackling energy with a range of 60 feet. So to start, it's going to conjure 1 beam. At level 5, you're going to conjure 2 beams. And once you reach level 10, it's going to conjure 3 beams. So here's the level 1 version of Eldritch Blast. Here's Eldritch Blast with 2 beams. Here's Eldritch Blast with 3 beams. You're then going to choose your subclass, and for the video I'm choosing the Great Old One. Warlocks bound to eldritch beings in the far realm work towards inscrutable goals, gaining strange powers over entropy in the mind. So the Great Old One subclass relies a lot more on RNG than the other subclasses, as it has a lot to do with critical strikes and dodging, and this subclass is going to focus a lot on psychic attacks. So this is going to grant you the subclass feature Mortal Reminder. When you land a critical hit against a creature, that creature and any nearby creatures must succeed a wisdom saving throw or become frightened until the end of their next turn. So frightened, they cannot move. Friend entities also have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls. So a disadvantage is gonna roll 2 dice, and it's gonna use the lower value. So that's on ability checks to test whether the action is successful, and their attack rolls, which determines whether they hit you or not. His buddy next to him got hit, and he is now frightened. You're also going to choose 2 spells between Armor of Agathes, hope I'm saying that right, Arms of Hadar, Charm Person, Dissonant Whispers, Expeditious Retreat, Hellish Rebuke, Hex, Protection from Evil and Good, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, and Witch Bolt. So your spellcasting ability is going to be based on Charisma, and that's going to affect your spell save DC, which is a spell difficulty class. The higher that is, the harder it is to resist your spells, and your spell attack, which is a bonus to melee and ranged spell attacks, improves your chance to hit with certain spells. Then you're going to apply your ability points, keeping in mind that Charisma is your most important ability, and your skill proficiencies. You're going to be able to apply a proficiency in Arcana, History, Investigation, Nature, Religion, Deception, and Intimidation. Alright, so when you get to level 2, there's a health increase. You're going to get a second Warlock spell slot. You're going to choose your 3rd spell, and you're going to choose 2 Eldritch Invocations. In your study of occult lore, you have unearthed Eldritch Invocations, fragments of forbidden knowledge that imbue with an abiding magical prowess. These are all passive features. So your options are Agonizing Blast. When you cast Eldritch Blast, add your Charisma modifier to the damage it deals, unless it is negative. Hit. 7 damage. Combat log says I rolled a 4 and it added +3 from my Charisma modifier, so it did a total of 7. So that +3 is from the Agonizing Blast. So later on, when you're doing 2 or 3 blasts every time you use Eldritch Blast, you're going to start to see a lot more damage due to that Agonizing Blast. Armor of Shadows. You can cast Mage Armor on yourself at will without expending a spell slot. Mage Armor increases your armor class when you aren't wearing armor. Beast Speech. You can cast Speak with Animals at will without expending a spell slot. Beguiling Influence. You invoke your patron's bewitching charm. You gain proficiency in deception and persuasion. Devil's Sight. You can see normally in darkness, both magical and non-magical, to a distance of 80 feet. Fiendish Vigor. You can cast False Life on yourself at will, as a level 1 spell without expending a spell slot. False Life grants you 7 temporary hit points. Mask of Many Faces. You can cast Disguise Self at will without expending a spell slot. One with Shadows. You learn how to cast One with Shadows. This lets you vanish into darkness and become invisible as long as you stand still until a long rest. Repelling Blast. When you hit a creature with Eldritch Blast, you can push the creature up to 15 feet away from you. Thief of Five Fates. Once per long rest, you can cast Bane using a Warlock spell slot. Bane targets up to 3 creatures. They receive a 1d4 penalty to attack rolls and saving throws. Then you're going to have the option to replace a spell, since you're limited to the amount of spells you can have at one time. Alright, when you hit level 3, there's another health increase. You're going to get improved Warlock spells. Most of your Warlock spells have become stronger. So now all your damaging spells are going to be level 2. You're going to gain a 4th spell, and you're going to have some level 2 spells to choose from now. Cloud of Daggers, Crown of Madness, Darkness, Detect Thoughts, Enthrall, Hold Person, Invisibility, Mirror Image, Misty Step, Phantasmal Force, Ray of Enfeeblement, and Shatter. You're then going to choose your Pact Boon. Your patron bestows a gift upon you for your loyal service. Choose one of the following pacts. Pact of the Chain. Gain the service of a familiar, a fey spirit that takes a form of your choosing. This can be an animal, imp, or quasit. Pact of the Blade. You can summon a pact weapon, or bind the one you are wielding, making it magical. Pact weapons use the wielder's spellcasting ability modifier instead of strength or dexterity. That's going to be charisma for you. Pact of the Tome. Your patron grants you a grimoire called the Book of Shadows, which allows you to cast Guidance, Vicious Mockery, and Thorn Whip. And then you'll have the option to replace one of your spells. The Pact of the Chain is going to grant you a couple of actions. There's Find Familiar. You can choose an animal out of these. There's Find Familiar Spider. He's got a bite that does 2 to 5 damage, and he has Arachnid Jump. There's the Raven. Summon a Raven. That has a blind attack. Here he's got a Beak attack that does 3 damage. Rend Vision that does 1 damage and blinds a target, which causes disadvantage on attack rolls. Range of attacks and spells reduced to 10 feet. Attack rolls against blinded creatures have advantage for 1 turn. And then the Raven also has Fly. There's the Rat. Summon a rat familiar with an infectious bite. 1 damage. Bite a creature and infect it for 10 turns. Has disadvantage on Constitution saving throws, and Constitution is reduced by 1. And there's the Frog. Summon a frog familiar who can spread its Bufotoxin to enemies. Bufotoxin, 1 damage. Touch a creature and possibly impose disadvantage on its saving throws for 10 turns. He has a jump. Can actually go 60 feet. It's pretty far. Then we got the Crab. Summon a crab familiar who can slow enemies with its crippling pinch. So maiming pinch, 2 to 5 damage. Attack a creature's feet and inflict pinched. Pinch lasts for 2 turns. Does 1 to 4 damage. Takes 2 piercing damage at the beginning of each turn, and its movement speed is reduced by 10 feet. Finally, we've got the Cat. Summon a cat familiar who can meow to distract your enemies. He's got claws that do 2 damage. Got the meow that attracts the attention of nearby creatures and draws them closer to you. Your next action is Find Familiar Quasit. Summon a familiar with the form of a quasit that can turn invisible and scare enemies. So he has claws that do 4 to 7 damage. He can turn invisible. It ends early if he attacks, casts another spell, takes an action, or takes damage. He's a scare. Lash at a creature to frighten it. That makes it so it can't move. Frighten entities also have disadvantage on ability checks and attack rolls. And for your last action, you have Find Familiar Imp. Summon a familiar with the form of an imp that can fly, turn invisible, and sting enemies. So your imp has 4 to 7 damage on claws. You got invisibility. He has a sting that does 5 to 13 damage. Deals 4 to 7 piercing damage and possibly deals an additional 1 to 6 poison damage. On a save, the target takes no additional poison damage. Pact of the Blade is going to give you 2 actions. First one is Bind Pact Weapon. Bind to your main hand weapon. Its damage becomes magical, you cannot drop or throw it, and you become proficient with it if you weren't already. You can only have 1 pact weapon at any time. The weapon returns to its previous state if you are more than 5 feet away from it for more than 10 rounds. Here's my quarterstaff before, 0 to 7 damage. Pact weapon now, it does 4 to 11 damage. The damage is magical. The second action is Pact of the Blade. Summon a weapon to your hand. It uses the wielder's spellcasting ability modifier, which is going to be your charisma, and its damage is magical. You're proficient with the weapon. You can only have 1 at a time. The weapon disappears if you're more than 5 feet away from it for more than 10 rounds, and you can use this once per battle. So when you click on it, it's going to give you 6 different weapons to choose from. So the first one here is Warhammer. It's going to give you Pact-bound Warhammer, 4 to 13 damage, and it's going to give you 3 abilities: Backbreaker, Concussive Smash, and Weakening Strike. Second one's going to be the Trident. The Pack-bound Trident. It's 4 to 11 damage. It's going to give you 3 actions. Rush attack, Piercing Strike, and Disarming Strike. Third one is going to be the Rapier. So the Rapier is going to have 4 to 11 damage. And these 3 actions, Flourish, Piercing Strike, and Weakening Strike. Then you have the Greatsword. Greatsword has 5 to 15 damage. And Pommel Strike, Lacerate, and Cleave. After that, there's the Glaive. Glaive has 4 to 13 damage, and it gives you Rush Attack, Lacerate, and Brace Melee. Finally, you have the Battle Axe. Battle Axe is going to give you 4 to 13 damage, and Cleave, Lacerate, and Maiming Strike. Alright, when you hit level 4, you're going to get a health increase. You're going to get your 3rd cantrip. You're going to choose your 4th spell. You have the option to replace a spell, and then you're going to choose your 1st feat. So when you hit level 5, you're going to get another health increase. You're going to get the class feature Deepened Pact. Pleased with your service, your otherworldly patron added new boons to the terms of your pact. Blade Pact holders gain an extra attack with their pact weapon. So you're going to be able to attack twice per turn with your Pact weapon. Pact of the Chain's familiar also gains an extra attack. So if you chose Pact of the Chain, your familiar, whatever you summon, is going to be able to attack twice per turn. And Pact of the Tome Warlocks can cast Animate Dead, Haste, or Call Lightning once per long rest. You're then going to choose your 6th spell, now having access to the level 3 spells. Bestow Curse, Counterspell, Fear, Grant Flight, Gaseous Form, Hunger of Hadar, Hypnotic Pattern, Remove Curse, Slow, and Vampiric Touch. You're going to be able to choose another Eldritch Invocation, now having access to 2 more. Mire the Mind. You can cast Slow with a Warlock spell slot, and Sign of Ill Omen. You can cast Bestow Curse with a Warlock spell slot. And then you're going to have the option to replace a spell. Also not sure why it's not mentioned, but this is where your spells will become level 3 now that you have access to level 3 spells. Level 6, you're going to get another health increase. You're going to get the subclass feature Entropic Ward. As a reaction, you can impose disadvantage on an attack roll against you. If the attack misses, you gain advantage on your next attack roll against your attacker for 1 turn. The Skeleton Archer has decided he wants to attack me. I can choose to use Entropic Ward, which imposes disadvantage on his attack roll against me. If he misses, I get advantage on my next attack roll against him for 1 turn. He missed, so now it pops up on his head. Entropic Ward. Missed an attack on a Warlock. The Warlock has advantage on their next attack roll against the affected entity. That's going to let me roll 2 dice, and it's going to use the higher die. You're then going to choose your 7th spell, and you have the option to replace a spell. Alright, at level 7, you're going to get another health increase, and you're going to get your 8th spell. Now you have access to level 4 spells, Banishment, Blight, Dimension Door, Dominate Beast, and Evard's Black Tentacles. This is also going to upgrade all of your spells to level 4. You're then going to choose another Eldritch Invocation. Now you have access to Book of Ancient Secrets. You can inscribe magical rituals in your Book of Shadows. Gain the Ray of Sickness, Chromatic Orb, and Silence spells. You can cast these spells once per long rest, and they don't expend any spell slots when cast. In Dreadful Word, you can cast Confusion with a Warlock spell slot. Sculptor of Flesh, you can cast Polymorph with a Warlock spell slot. You don't have the option to replace another spell. At level 8, you're going to get another health increase. You're going to get your 9th spell, and you're going to have the option to replace a spell yet again. And then you're going to choose your 2nd feat. Alright, at level 9, you're going to get that health increase. You're going to get your 10th spell, now having access to level 5 spells. Dominate Person, Hold Monster, and Telekinesis. Then all of your spells are going to be upgraded to level 5. Then you're going to choose another Eldritch Invocation, now having access to Minions of Chaos. You can cast Conjure Elemental with the Warlock spell slot. Otherworldly Leap, you can cast the Enhanced Leap spell. And Whispers of the Grave, you can cast Speak with the Dead without expending a spell slot. Then you're going to choose another spell to replace if you want to do so. Upon hitting level 10, there's another health increase. You're going to get your 4th cantrip. You're going to get 2 subclass features. Thought Shield Psychic Resistance. An Elder Being shields your brain. You gain resistance to psychic damage. So now you're only going to take half the amount of damage from Psychic. And Thought Shield Psychic Reflection. Your patron doesn't appreciate attempts to attack your mind. When you take psychic damage, your attacker takes the same damage. You're going to choose your 11th spell, and then you have the option to replace a spell. Alright, at level 11, you're going to get another health increase, your third and final Warlock spell slot. You're going to choose your 12th spell, and then you're going to have Mystic Arcanum, where you can select one of your level 6 spells. Once per long rest, you can cast that spell without expending a spell slot. Your options are Circle of Death, Arcane Gate, Eye Bite, Flesh to Stone, and Create Undead. And then you will have the option to replace a spell. Finally, at level 12, you're going to get another health increase, your 13th spell. You're going to be able to replace another spell, and then you're going to be able to choose your 6th and final Eldritch Invocation, now having access to Life Drinker. Your melee attacks deal additional necrotic damage equal to your Charisma modifier. So for me, that would be +3 necrotic damage. So this one's going to be pretty good if you chose Pact of the Blade. And then you're going to be able to choose your third and final feat. Alright guys, and that's going to wrap it up for the Great Old One subclass for the Warlock. If you guys like this video, hit that like button down below, it helps me out quite a bit, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Also let me know down in the comments how I can improve and what you guys want to see next. See you guys next time.